Hey there, my real estate peeps. Whether you're a buyer, you're a seller, you're an investor, or even you're a renter out there in the marketplace, you're probably wondering what the heck is going on. It has continued to change. It will continue to change. We can expect that as a constant because it always is in every date and every time in the real estate market. And in today's video, I'm going to be covering the most important facts you need to know about Atlanta's real estate market as well as the national real estate market right now to make the best decisions for yourself. You know, I will be covering a lot of data in this video, so if you do have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask those by way of a comment below this video, and I would love to get you the answers. I am super thrilled to be able to do that, so please do not hesitate to ask any question that you have. I know sometimes it can be really confusing, and that is what I'm here for. It is really my privilege and my pleasure to serve our real estate market and to help you guys any way that I can. So without further ado, let's look at some of the numbers. I know mortgage rate trends are on everyone's mind these days. We can't talk about mortgage real estate trends without looking at the rates over the last year as well as historically and how they kind of fit together in the marketplace. So today I'm going to start about the last 12 months. You see we're starting back here in December of 2021 and we were at rates that were about 3%. We've seen those babies tick up and tick up and tick up and tick up and tick up here to about 6.58% right now. What's really cool to see is that we kind of saw a little peak back here and then we saw a pretty big drop right there. And what does that mean for you guys? What that means is that the cost of owning a home is actually less this month than it was last month. It provides a lot of new opportunities for buyers who may have been sitting on the sidelines, waiting to say, okay, are rates going to continue to go up? Maybe I should pop out and take a look at them, because a 6.5% rate and a 5.9% rate are a nice tick down from the last couple of months, and it is helpful to buyers and also makes more options available in the marketplace at a little bit higher price, because as we know, when interest rates go up, the less buying power you have, less house that you can buy with your monthly payment. But I do want to take that into context and look at what has real estate or interest rates done over the last 30 years and where are we today. As you can see here, where this says 6.02, which is actually a little bit down from that 6.58. This is actually the more recent number, so we've seen a little bit more of a drop in that interest rate. But historically, we've seen those rates in the averages. You see that line right there, about 8, somewhere between 6 and 8%. So this is really a very normal interest rate market. There have been times that interest rates have been over here as high as 18%. So, I mean, as you can imagine, 6 is really relative to 18. That's a third, 1/3 of the interest rate that people were paying back in the early 1980s. And I think that's important to keep into perspective, because right now we're also looking at some still very low inventory situations. We nationally are seeing about a 3-month inventory, and I think everybody remembers back in 2010 and stuff like that, or a lot of folks remember that you basically couldn't sell a house. It would take like 3 years to sell, and you got like 30% of what it was marketing for. And that's because there was this huge glut of inventory. But we are still down here at the low level, the 3-month level. So that means we still have very much a shortage of inventory. Even though the number of buyers is cooling off a pretty good bit, that means we're not in that huge bubble where it's gonna burst. There's gonna be a bazillion homes on the market and nobody wants to buy anything. We're just not seeing that. Because see, here's where 2007 really took place on this line here. And we've seen those inventories trickle up and trickle up and trickle up until all of a sudden the bottom fell out. And we're just not in that situation today, which for property sellers, property buyers, really anybody who's thinking about real estate, that is a very reassuring and comforting feeling. When you start to see those numbers get up here around 7 and 8%, then you might, or 7 or 8 months, that's kind of when you want to start to worry, okay, are we in a bubble? But right now, we're still half of 6. So we're still way away from a normal market when it comes to inventory. I'd also love to look at, okay, what have prices done historically with their varying interest rates? And you see the interest rates, they're all over the place here. But that line of price valuations, it's gone up and up and up and up, with one exception. which is right there between that 2007 and a half to 2010 mark, where we saw that tremendous drop in prices. And this was a full-on recession here. So this is the only period in history, that 1 3-year period, where we saw home prices that they did not go up. And that even included when interest rates were 18%. What's also very interesting to think about back here when these were 18% is inflation was really, really high. So yeah, the rates went up, but homes still also went up in value. We now are facing a similar time. It's certainly not quite as bad as it was in 1977 and 78 as inflation, but we are seeing an uptick in inflation. We've seen it fairly steady over the last few years, and then we saw the pandemic where everything changed and we got all the stimulus money out into the markets, and it sort of flooded the market for cash, for lack of a better reason, or better thing to say, and it created what we call inflation. You know, things have to escalate in order to catch up with the money that was out there and is being spent. People also don't have that additional money anymore, so it's a little bit of a quagmire. Now, what I do love to do is I love to superimpose that inflation over the home value chart here, and look what happened when inflation started in. Look what happened to home prices, up and up and up and up. And we're trying to level that number out right there. That's why we're having these interest rates, because it will also level this number out. But look at what happens as inflation goes up, so do real estate values, even when they start to knock down those higher interest rates. I mean, think about it. The cost now to produce a new home relative to one that's out there in the marketplace is considerably higher, because you are dealing with those raw materials and those current contractor prices and stuff like that. So it's making those home values still very, very strong. It's a super solid investment. I don't think anybody can say that about their stock market portfolio, because I think that we all know how those things feel right now. Not so lovely, but real estate continues to be a strong investment even at a more normal interest rate. Most folks will probably get used to the normal interest rates in the next couple months, and it'll start flowing along just like it was. Trick is we don't want to get too much inflation. Now, let's look at what's going on with inventories. Now, this is the FMLS market as a whole right now, and you can see over the last several months, we've seen those inventories go up and up and up and up, and we've seen the number of pending sales go down and down and down. So you created this sort of a V shape right here, where you're starting to see more inventory and more homes on the marketplace. Now, we have seen prices subside just a little bit, those average per square foot prices. We saw a really high number here in April and May of this year, and then we started to see those tick down just a little bit. So we're about 5% lower in our per square foot price than we were earlier this year. And also those days on market are tending to be a good bit longer. This is the whole market as an aggregate, but it gives you a good general barometer. Every area is different, so be sure that you're talking to a local expert who can pull the local data and really give you the real skinny on what's going on in the marketplace that you're looking at. Something also to look at here is also what were homes selling for versus their list price. They were selling for about the list price in February of this year. Then they ticked up. We all remember that into like April, May, June, and then they started to come back down. Now they're selling for about 4% less than the list price. So that means that sale prices has changed about 6%, which is very similar to that 5%. Remember we talked about the 5% a minute ago here? Somewhere very close to that. So we're still seeing a little bit of a drop back in the sale prices. That is what's also helping to create more inventory. As you can see here in our current market, we have about 5.2 months worth of inventory. Now that is all of FMLS as a whole. It's not Atlanta specifically. I'm going to talk about some of those more specific Atlanta numbers here in just a minute, but this is sort of our market as a whole right now in the marketplace. So what I do expect to happen, and I'm going to show you this chart right here. I'll show you in just a few minutes, but right now, this is kind of what's going on in our local market and what we're seeing across the board. We're seeing more new listings, and we're seeing more that are coming back on the market. That means they went under contract and now they're coming back on the market. We're also seeing a lot more of them decreasing their prices. Those prices will go down. We're seeing hardly anybody increase their price. We're seeing a steady number of pendings. It could be better. That's tending to tick down, separating itself, because you're looking at about $5,000 here and about $3,900. So you got about $1,100 $1,100 different, or 1,100 home difference there. So you're starting to see a little bit of change in that. Now, this was the last week of the month, which is when most all of our closings happen. So that number is not quite as accurate for a 7-day feed as it would be, say, for example, if I did it on December the 7th. Now, what is cool to look at also and important to remember is that we are looking at our median sales prices over the last couple of years here in Atlanta, and they have remained very, very strong. But there again, they have had a little bit of a dip this year. That's as we've had more supply and we've had sales drop down. So the prices, they're getting a little bit softer. So for my buyers out there, this means it is an excellent time for you to think about maybe getting that home at a softer price, because we're starting to see those interest rates level out. Maybe even have some creative financing, which I'm going to tell you a little bit about in just a few minutes. That'll help you keep the rates down. It may be a great opportunity to get the home that you want at a really much better value, really than it even was back here, because you were really overpaying for your house back in these months here. I mean, now it's starting to become a little bit more normal and starting to level out also on the interest rate. We have seen those days on market though continue to increase. Here's back there in May, June. I mean, it's basically like you blink your eyes and the homes were off the market. And now you're looking at almost 3 times as much as that. Some are considerably longer depending on the type of property that it is. Now, what I do expect to happen here in the next couple of months is December, it typically has less showing traffic, less pendings, and less closed sales. We typically start to see people get out and look at homes again in January, usually around January the 10th. I don't know why that is. I guess they're getting over their holiday partying and getting back to work. What I do expect to see is I expect you'll continue to see those inventories increase, and you'll see, I think you'll probably see those interest rates remain somewhere close to the same. They might soften a little bit. They might go up just a little bit in a given week, but I think you're going to see those kind of the same. We're thinking maybe in 2024, we're going to see rates kind of substantially drop back a little bit, which makes a great option for some of the loan programs that are out there right now for buyers. And be sure you stay tuned, because I'm going to tell you about that in just a few minutes. You know, I expect your pending sales, like I say, will slip further in December, and they'll likely pick up towards the end of February, because that means those people in January, they'll get out there and start looking at those houses. They'll put them under contract maybe by the end of January, and they'll close at the end of February. So I think we'll probably see those sales start to pick back up. And I think you're going to see the consumers adjust more to the interest rates. Now that it's starting to level out, people are starting to be comfortable with it. You know, we've seen this time and time over history as everybody starts to get used to those new rates again. You know, they start to get out and they start to realize the real value of real estate, because it continues to go up in value, and sometimes way more proportionally even than the increases in the interest rates. Now, I will tell you, I expect the marketing times to continue to increase. That V shape with the sales inventory, where inventory is going up and pendings are going down, that just means there's going to be more out there available, and it's going to take longer to clear it out of the system. So what do I expect prices themselves to do? I expect your single family homes will continue to increase in price per square foot, just simply because there is a lack of land and availability here in Atlanta. And these are the prices I expect in Atlanta, okay? So please don't take that these are like all over the place. I expect your townhomes will still also increase. I don't think they'll go at quite the pace that your single family homes will go at, because there are new townhome developments that continue to drive forward in the marketplace. I expect condos to be a little bit more stable, especially in the more densely developed areas, your Buckheads, your Old Fort Worth, the Midtown, where you've got so many, and there's not as many being built. I expect you'll see that those values will stay pretty strong. You may see a few people go to some other areas because they can buy something cheaper and a little bit less of a price point. And I do expect those condos and stuff that are in those areas where there's a lot being built and plenty of availability and lots of new inventory and stuff like that. I think you'll see those resale condos continue to drop their prices just a little bit. They'll become a little bit softer, especially the older one. You know, the older they get, the more decorated, less updated and such as that they are, you're going to tend to see those guys suffer or have the most impact on dropping any prices down. The top options I see right now for my sellers who are looking to sell and really serious about selling, the number one thing they're doing is price reductions. Homes that are priced more aggressively, they appeal to more buyers. They appear in more searches. They make it more affordable for the buyer, so they're much more likely to sell. I'm also seeing a lot of folks now doing 2-1 buy downs or 3-2-1 buy downs. We don't see many companies doing the 3-2-1s, but right now a 2-1 buy down with our internal office lender for a typical buyer at $630,000, it's going to cost them about $12,000. You know, the great thing about a 2-1 buy down is, okay, in the first year, you're 2% off your regular interest rate. So if it's at 6.5, you're at 4.5, and in the second year, you're at 5.5, and then in the third year at 6.5. But let's think about this. If you bought it today at this lower price, it continues to go up in value, and then interest rates, they continue to go along and maybe drop a little bit coming into 2024, that's going to put you at a lower interest rate than the market, and then you can refinance it in 2024 or so, and you will have gotten the home at the best price, and then also be paying the lower interest rate, so it doesn't cost you as much. So those are some great options. And if you do have any questions about those, please do not hesitate to reach out and ask me about those. I'm more than happy to go through any of that with you. Marketing in sales continues to be more and more important every single day. We run more ads, we send more e-blasts, we call more agents, we do so many more things than we needed to do really even just a few months ago. So the marketing has become more important than it has been in the last few years. I mean, let's face it, for a while there, it was important how you negotiated multiple offers and figured out all the contracts and get everything through, because you put it on the market and it would sell. That is just not the case now. It just doesn't fly off the shelf for no reason these days, and certainly not at a premium price. So the marketing continues to be one of the most important, if not the most important part of selling your home. Obviously being realistic, listening to what the prospective buyers that look at your home say and acting accordingly always play an important factor in selling your home. So that's our sort of market update for the end of November, 1st of September 2022. I'm Brew Krebs, of course, and I'm here at the Berkshire Hathaway office in Atlanta's Midtown. I do really get calls all the time about the in-town market. That's Buckhead, Midtown, Old Fourth Ward, Virginia Highlands, Inman Park, Grant Park, West Midtown, all of these areas that are kind of inside the perimeter. So if you do have any questions about what's going on in real estate, anything about this video, what's going on in the neighborhoods, we do restaurant reviews and all kinds of different things here on our site, but please feel free to reach out to me anytime if you have questions specific for something that maybe we don't cover here, or you just want to ask more about these. Feel free to call or text my cell phone anytime. I'm more than happy to talk to you. In fact, this is one of the things I love to do the most, is to help folks in our real estate marketplace. So I would absolutely love to hear from you. And if you have not already, don't forget to subscribe to my little channel there, and click the little bell button to be notified when those new videos come out, because we do have new content coming out all the time. Property tours, what you can buy for a certain amount of dollars, restaurant reviews, market updates, and all kinds of things that have to do with the city of Atlanta. So we would love to have you in our group and seeing us and talking to us on a regular basis. So if you do get a chance, subscribe and like that little button. As always, I really, really greatly appreciate you for tuning into the video today. And if you did like this video, I know you're gonna love the next one that pops up on your screen.